elder statesman Edwin is calling on the anti-graft agency EFCC to investigate all former governors who served the country and looted the public treasury, as it is doing in the case of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. He also appealed to Bello to surrender to the court with dignity. In a letter to the chairman of the EFCC, Clark called for a quick investigation to enable President Bola Tinubu to carry out his anti-corruption policies. He asked the EFCC to expedite the trial of all former governors charged to court since 2007, but living lavishly at the expense of vulnerable Nigerians. Joining us now is Chief Edwin Clark, leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. Good morning, sir, and always good to see you on the morning show. You're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much, my daughter. Thank you very much. Well, Dr. Ruben, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Well, thank you
Rufai,
for...
good morning.
Morning, sir.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Well,
nice talking to you, like being with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Well, very simply, just to get your view as we start the conversation on EFCC versus Alhaji Yahaya Bello. And as I pointed out in the introduction, also your position on the trial of former governors, so that we can have an idea about where you stand in the matter.
Thank you very much. I think Yahaya Bello is not my subject. He's just a young man who followed the footprint of his predecessors and so on. That's not the main issue. What I really said was that the revival, the decision of the chairman, the new chairman of EFCC, to revive or to revisit all pending cases for over 10 years, since 2007. Those who have been jailed for even 10 years or more have returned to Nigeria. They are living free life. These people, some of these people have refused, using their position in Senate to adjourn cases. The judiciary have their role to answer to Nigerians why a case that had been in court for 10 years, 15 years, has not been tried. Why? Are they not being called? Some of them are ministers. Some of them, they mix up with officials at the government parties. So the same people who are standing trial, dining and whining with judges, with Chief Justice of Nigeria, because they are free men. I think these are the issues, Ruben. As far as I've said, all I wanted to say about Yahaya Bello. Yahaya Bello is just being stubborn. But he's just been stubborn. He knows where to go to. He has been living a very, very rough, having a rough government, corruption, killing of people in the play during elections and so on. There's time for everything, and it has come for him to answer questions. He should go to court. And these lawyers, some of them have nothing to do. They have now been hired to go to court to manipulate. It's a simple thing. If the chairman of EFCC has a case to answer, then go to court. Take him to court. This issue of court something, they have been taken against Inspector General of Police and other people, ministers and so on. So it's not a new thing. They should go to court. But he should go to court to answer the substance of the case. Where did he get the money from? Is it true or no that the money he paid to the American school belonged to him or belonged to the government of Kogi State. I think these are the issues. So whoever is saying that contempt of court, this and that, is talking rubbish. Let the area go to court. And now we have to question, if a governor misuses his power, enjoying immunity, to commit crime, to obstruct justice, I think the issue had to be called to question. The behavior of the new governor. It's Bello in power for the third time. You know what to do? Just running after him. So this is all I want to say about Ododo. I'm pleading with him. He's a nice, attractive young man. He should do the needful so that the youths in this country can have something to fall upon. Having said that, let me say this. In 2007, more than 15 former governors, ministers, were charged to court during Ribadu's time as the chairman of EFCC. And most of them, some of them were charged to court in Lagos, Abuja, and so on. But after some time, some of these cases were not heard again. All we had later was that these same governors have been cleared to contest senatorial seats, and they are now in the Senate. So today, a man charged to court. Let me take a case of one of them. Right. Abdullahi Adamu, who was the governor of Nasarawa State in 1999, I think. He was charged to court for embezzling his money from his state for the sum of 15 billion naira, with other commissioners who were to be charged to court in Nasarawa State. There, after being charged to court, he contested the election to Senate, and he won. And he had been there. Nobody cared about him. What happened thereafter? Apart from being a senator, President Muhammadu Buhari, former president of Nigeria, imposed him as the national chairman of APC, where you have so many people who have clean records in APC. There he was. Nobody heard about his trial again. He was now an honest man. They talked about corruption more than any other person. But now, he's gone.
All right, sir.
You can go further.
Yes, Chief
to
Clark.
name more of these people.
Chief Clark, talking about, yes, thank you so much. Talking about the number of people, I mean, you in your letter to the EFCC, which was made available to the media, you highlighted a number of cases that have not been completed, especially as it pertains to high-profile personalities, including former governors. What would you say is the reason for this pervasiveness in corruption at this level? Is it the fact that we don't have a strong justice system, or we don't have leaders who have the political will? You know, you citing the example of the president and then former national chairman and a man who has, you know, corruption allegations still pending. What is the real issue? Do we have a system that enables corruption in government?
Well, thank you very much, my daughter. Now let me go back to 2011. In 2011, there was a new Chief Justice of Nigeria. I think Right Honorable Justice Daru Mustafa. He gave a lecture to his colleagues. And during that lecture, he condemned corruption. He condemned delaying trying cases and so on. And let me quote him. I'm a member, the judiciary is my home. I have been there for 32 years. I will do everything as the Chief Justice of Nigeria to clean it up. Anybody, any judge who is not able to perform his duty honestly and so forth will be expelled, will be expunged from the judiciary. These are the strong languages he used. So in 2011, I wrote him a letter congratulating him, then listed out all cases that were pending in court. He now wrote back to me a few days after. He said that he was right, I was right. But he said the problem is not with the judiciary alone. That those who are prosecuting these cases deliberately sometimes do not want to prosecute these cases and allow them to go away. Then he cited an example that I'm quoting him, that you charge a man to court for 140 charges, and the same prosecuting counsel is not able to reconcile charge 19 and charge 90. And at the end, he loses the case. He thought that some of these things are deliberate, and that he had discussed this matter with the Chief Justice of Nigeria at that time and told him that something had to be done. So he appointed a judicial committee under the chairmanship of Justice Wade, a former Chief Justice of Nigeria. And they have not submitted their report at that time. So in 2011, I wrote these names. They were there. You have now heard that partly due to some of the problems we are facing with the judiciary, which is very disgraceful. I don't want to talk about them here. But the lawyers, our lawyers, some of our sons who have been hired at high cost by this EFCC or other organization have a duty to explain to the profession they belong to some of the things that are happening in the judiciary and at the bar. Does that answer your question?
Okay. I mean, you've said a lot this morning.
So what I'm saying really,
Can you hear me, sir?
what I'm really saying is that, oh yes, please, go on.
You've said a lot this morning, and very well said. But can't we look at the pervasive system that even supports people doing this corrupt act? And I'll give you an instance. Civil societies went in defense of this governor with this allegation. You'll be shocked. Youth groups had a fallout at EFCC quarters. It's as if we have an ecosystem that supports this, apart from even the judiciary and the law enforcement agent. I mean, you'll be shocked. A youth group in a state going through all that shenanigans.
Fighting back.
So why do we even have an ecosystem where we can recruit people to help fight back corruption?
Now, because there's poverty in the country, unemployment, joblessness, and every other thing, poverty, hunger, anything can go for anything. So some of these governors who were nobody when they became governors have now joined the class of nobility. Today, there is no class we call middle class in Nigeria. You either have the top and the poor man at the bottom. So what is happening? Some of these governors have so much money to dish out to these jobless boys and girls who don't know what they don't know that they are selling their right. So when you have the two sides meeting at EFCC, fighting themselves, you can understand what country we belong to now, my son. It's a shame. So all we can do is to continue to educate our children. People like me, elderly men like me, should educate our children. There's future for them in Nigeria. Not now. If they help these governors, some of them now, to perpetuate corruption in Nigeria, a dark day lies ahead. So I do not think we should, some of these civil rights organizations, they should do what they call themselves and not to do the opposite. Listen, I am tired. Sometimes I feel very sad. Let me point out to you again another case of corruption. About 3 years or 4 years, 3 years ago, the Federal Attorney General, Malami, leveled a number of charges, about 23, against Mangu, the acting chairman of EFCC. That acting chairman was a beloved officer of Muhammad Buhari. 5 times he presented him to the Senate, 5 times he was rejected. And they decided that the law did not say, the Constitution did not say, that everybody to be appointed must go through the Senate. But yet, they were disobeying the same Constitution, taking people there when it suits them. But Mangu did not go back, and it was in office for 5 years. Then a panel was appointed with the former president of the Court of Appeal. Judicial Commission of Inquiry was everything. All the scandals in this country were. So at the end of it all, the same Mangu who was humiliated, who was disgraced, arrested, detained, was promoted and retired. He made charges against the Attorney General. Where are those charges? Nobody tried them. Then it was an opportunity for the Attorney General to bring his nephew, less than 40, to become the chairman of EFCC, over and above
Chief,
his seniors who went training with him.
Chief A.K. Clark.
So that is the type of country. Today Malami is gone.
Chief?
He wanted to be governor of Kogi State. So yes, I'm listening to you.
Well, Chief, yeah,
all I'm saying is,
I got your point about good governance.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, I get your point about good governance, transparency, accountability, and the examples that you have cited. Abdullahi Adamu of Nasarawa State, and other examples. But charity begins at home. I would like to ask you, in what way is the ongoing Yahaya Bello case, for example, different from what happened in the James Ibori case in Delta State? Because in Delta State, you will recall, sir, that James Ibori was also indicted, but the Federal High Court of Asaba said that there was no case, that EFCC had no case. The EFCC went to the Court of Appeal on the same matter. The Court of Appeal said there was a case to answer, but nothing came out of it. It was only in London that the UK court indicted Chief Ibori, and when Chief Ibori came back, the people of Delta received him with a lot of celebration, saying that the Nigerian government should go to hell. In fact, the state government even said a certain 15 billion naira that Nuhu Ribadu was EFCC chairman at the time, said had been given to EFCC. They said should be returned to them. So how is this present situation different? Where is the problem? And secondly, you say past governors should be tried. Does that include former governor of Delta State, Patrick Okowa, whom you attacked? And you said he has stolen 1 trillion naira.
Oh, yes.
You said he stole 1 trillion naira. But nothing came out of it. So can we go to Delta State and start from there?
Something must come out of it. That's why I'm writing. That's why I'm telling the chairman to revisit these cases. Ruben.
Yes.
By the 25th of this month, I will be 97. I played a very leading role in the police case. You cannot, you punish your son with one hand and draw him to yourself. I do not want to open old issues. He has served his sentence. His family, the members of his family have served the sentence. But those who were charged with him at the same time, it's very unfair to him. Those who were charged to court with him in 2007 are still parading themselves as senators and ministers. But whereas the body has spent 13 years, part of his 13 years in prison. So I don't want to comment on it. That's a past story because I know what is going on. But today, Okowa will be proved. There's no reason. Everything I submitted about him, I got it from the government, the federal government. So there's no hiding place. I'm going to discuss it with the new chairman. If we had decided to visit old cases, what of the new cases? What they said was that they wanted to gather all cases of old governors and deal with them at the same time. So I do not, it's not because Okowa has gone to soften their hands or has gone to do something. No. His case is a naked one. He stole our money, embezzled our money, and he must pay for it.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, sir. All right. Thank you very much, Chief Clerk. Just as we wrap up this morning, in just 1 minute, what would you want the EFCC chairman to do differently? We're saying this because when in the past, for each of the chairmen who have led the EFCC, they came with gusto, saying on the mandate of fighting corruption. But unfortunately, for many of them, it didn't quite end well. Like you said, corruption fought back in some cases. Some cases were open-ended, nothing, just make a lot of media trial and nothing happens afterwards. What do you think this EFCC chairman, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, can do differently?
Number one, the Federal Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General should give EFCC a free hand to do its duty as it was at the first time Ribado was appointed. We all followed that one. They should not run the EFCC together with the Ministry of Justice as Malami did. He was a supervisor. He was the one directing the affairs. He was the one taking the assets of culprits. Nobody could account for them. They sold ships in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in everywhere. Nobody could account for them. At the end, if I may say, in a lighter note, he ended up by marrying Mr. President Muhammad Buhari's daughter. That the country will belong to.
Well, thank you very much, Chief Ike Clark, for joining us on the morning show today.